I'm great. Welcome to this platform. On this platform, you'll be learning tips that will help you to connect the dot, the destiny dot, the personal finance dot, the personal success dot, every form of dot that you need to have a change of story, to become the person that you need to be. Today, I'd like to remind you that these tips has the proclivity to move you into action. You have to do something from what you're going to hear, and then you will see the effect of what you've done in your own life. It is working. Let's talk about building personal finance culture. You know, if you're out there and you probably have a better English, you might want to also put it as building personal financial culture. But I think I'm more comfortable to putting it this way: building personal finance, but making it a culture. You have to build a personal finance culture, or building a personal finance culture, whatever you think is best for you to have. Let's go. Now, a lot of people do not understand this. Until you become a finance manager, money does not honor you. Everyone out there is running and looking for money. You know, people are saying they have or they don't have enough of money. But money respects those who respect money. And what you're going to be learning now is how you can build a culture personally that has respect for money. There is some element about money that we should all understand. First, money is effervescent. Money goes. There is no amount of money. You know, if you lack thousands, you think when you touch $1,000 or £1,000 that your life is going to be better. Until you start earning thousands, then you realize that you probably need 5,000. And then you realize that you have 5,000. You're still asking, or you checking for, now I need 50,000. But there's no amount of money that cannot be blown. There's no amount of money that cannot go. I'm privileged to have touched different amount of money, so many figures of money, and I realized that even millions is very easy to spend. Money always outlets that it's going to go into, but you can command your money because you can attribute every penny into a mission, into something that is going. So stay with me. The first thing you want to do about money is to, number one, have a personal budget. You want to have respect for money by having a personal budget. And in having this budget, the first thing you want to have in mind personally, not your business, we're talking about, is to have a personal target. This target is going to happen by you developing your income and expenditure sheet. So you have something, I'm going to come back to this in a moment. You have something like this. You have income, and then you have expenditure. I will always say to you, don't start when you fill this either on Word document or on a paper sheet, or you're doing this on, what else do you do? Excel. Do not start from your income. Start from your expenditure. So the first thing you do is your rent or mortgage. Then you look at your bills, electricity bill, you look at your gas bill, or whatever the case may be in any country that you live in. You look at your taxes, your personal taxes, or council tax, or community tax. You look at another thing that should come after rent, actually, as number two, is your groceries. Groceries, food for yourself, for your children, for your family, whatever the case may be. And this can go on and on. Your credit cards, credit card 1, credit card 2, you put in maybe transportation. So you calculate, you prorata how much you're spending regularly, and you break that down by prorata. How do you do the prorata? So if you are spending, say, $90 a week, you do $90 times 52. That will give you the year figure. Then once you get that figure, you divide it by 12. That's how you get your monthly income. I'll do that again. So whatever it is that you're spending a week, you prorate it by times it by 52 weeks in the year, and then whatever the figure you have, you divide it by 12, and that's how you get your average figure. So you have all of this as, it may be much more than this. You put in your insurance, your fueling if you're driving, your movies. If you're from Canada or Americans, your coffee. If you're from England, like myself, your tea, your different outings, you list all of this. When you come up, I prefer Excel for this. At the end of this, the total figure here, and make sure you put a formula. If you don't know how to do the formula, get the help of someone who understands how to do Excel, or actually send me a message depending on the platform that you're watching this. I might be able to send you a template that already has formulas in it, some that I've used for some of my proteges or clients to help them to build a personal finance culture. So when you have that formula and you have the total figure, don't be afraid. Do not fret. I'm going to shock you. 80% of people that I've come across always has more to spend money on than they have income coming in. So now when you're done with that total figure, no matter how much it scares you, come back here. So you want to start with your salary. And maybe you have side hustle, or whatever the case may be, maybe as your side hustle, maybe list every other way that money can come in for you. Even if it's $1, it's £1, no matter the amount, even if it's gifts, you can put the gifts. Maybe you have a way of receiving gifts, or maybe you've done something, royalty. You can also put in maybe some benefit or tax rebate or tax credit comes in. You put that in there. So every way that you have money, and the beauty of this is that if you work regularly every month with this is going to grow, because your mind will realize that here you spend 8 to 10 hours building this income, but you can actually spend 10 minutes in a day, 1 hour in a day to just be on a transaction. Somebody is renting a house and you are connecting the renter with the owner and you are earning money. You can actually maybe facilitate a deal. Somebody is trying to buy a ticket, or somebody is trying to buy a property or a car, or you sold something for someone. There are many other ways. Or you are doing drop shipping on Amazon, or you have a Shopify file, but you must always grow. Now, what happens is whatever the total, let's assume here you got $3,000, $3,420. You never have actual. Let's say $3,421. Let's put it in a better writing. Your total here is $3,421. But then you came here and you realize that your final is $2,780. That's your total. You realize here that you already have a deficit. Then you know what you do with that deficit? The first thing you should realize is that that's probably the source of your high blood pressure. Sometimes people have stress in their life and they don't know the source of it. But because you've been operating your life without a financial culture, what has been happening to you is that you have sources of stress in your life that you're not even aware of. So here is the first thing. The next thing to do is not to immediately go out looking for the shortfall between these two. The first thing you do is you come back here and you begin to hold a meeting with yourself. If you're married or if you have a partner, you sit down together and you begin to see what here is unnecessary. Unnecessary. You want to get rid of what is unnecessary. In your budget, remember, here is your target now. 3,421. Let's put it there. Your target is 3,421. Now, the next thing that I said you should do what is to remove unnecessary. Whatever the spelling, you remove whatever is unnecessary here in your budget. The next thing you do during your budget is to, when you cannot remove, you see where you can reduce cost. So you come back here and you begin to look at, you cannot negotiate this. You can eat healthy, but if you were shopping in one store that is more expensive, maybe your bill here is 550. You just might be able to see a new store somewhere else that can cost you the same things that you are buying, but you might be able to save 60 pounds because you are now putting financial prudence into your thinking. You might be able to renegotiate your electricity by changing the company, but before you do that, you make sure that you've done a market compare, okay? Or find a way to negotiate that. In some cases, you look at element, maybe you're drinking too much coffee, or you're drinking too much tea, or you've been spending too much money on your insurance. You just realize that when you are able to reanalyze. I give you a case study. Recently, I was doing a review with my wife, and I realized that one of the elements here is a cable, in England we call it Sky. And I realized that I've been traveling so much lately that, I may not be home in about 2 months, but I'm the only person that actually works because all the children have their own computers, they have their own rooms, and they are playing. They have their own sitting rooms, they are on their PlayStation, or they are studying. The only time I come in, but these guys called Sky, they were removing from my account an average of 140 pounds or thereabout. I'm not using it, but when I'm using it, I want to watch my Arsenal when I'm there. So what were we able to do? I was able to call the company and say, you know what, I want to cancel. I haven't got time. I'm on the plane most of the time. So guess what? They started negotiating with me. And then the bill came down drastically. What they remember is that I've been with them for over 15 years. And then okay, Mr. Great, we don't want you to go. Some cases you may be able to have the bargaining according to Potter's 5 forces, the bargaining power of the buyer. You can have the bargaining power of the buyer to renegotiate some of this. By the time you are done, you might just already been able to save a lot to fit back this into this. And when you realize that you still have shortfall, you must come back here and find, where is it? You come back here and find, if this is the only thing you have, you start finding, what else can I do to be able to create a balance? The next thing you do, after you've had a budget for yourself, and you know exactly what your target is or what your targets are, there are many other things that you can do. But the next thing that you want to do is to discipline yourself. Discipline yourself with focus. We're using capital letters. Let's stick to it. Discipline yourself to monitor your budget. You've got to keep an eye on your budget and make sure you keep what is priority, like your mortgage, like your rent, and never exceed them. You're going to see that you live a life that is a bit more coordinated. by the time you form the culture of constantly looking at the budget, removing the unnecessary, then discipline of it, you are already forming a culture, a financial culture. And then don't overestimate the power of this, because sometimes people think until they begin to touch hundreds of thousands of dollars, they don't need budgeting. From the moment you start earning above $1 or £1, you need to start budgeting. The next thing is that you want to create backups. In case of emergency, to build a financial culture, start putting something away somewhere, no matter how little it is. You may start from as little as $80, $30, $800, $500, no matter what the figure that you are able to spare is. Start putting this maybe into a fixed account, into safe bonds, or into crypto, in whichever way that you can put them. Then number 4, this one is very important and integrate. Do regular reviews. When we mean regular review, 1, you review your budget regularly, if possible weekly. Keep an eye on your bank statement, keep an eye on your expenditure, but also you review your discipline. How disciplined are you with your commitment into your budget? Review that always. Also review how much you've got on your backups. Sometimes you have money lying around in savings accounts that is yielding nothing, absolutely nothing. You have to always renegotiate where else can you put this money that will yield. Sometimes we have different accounts. In England, sometimes we just create, I found a bank that can offer me something else with something that I have. I take my money, hey, I tell the bank number A, as last Vista, I'm taking it doesn't mean I'm closing my account, but my savings, I'm taking it in somewhere else that will be more useful. Even if it's only 1% or 0.5%, if I hear on the news that the Bank of England is incentivizing the banks, or they are reducing interest rates, and I realize that your bank is not acting accordingly to give me that respite, also to give me that, some part of that freedom of expression, also, or the freedom or the leverage, better put, I'm moving. Finally, borrow right. I do not advocate for borrowing, particularly for consumption. But if you want to borrow, make sure that you are borrowing not for personal consumption. Borrowing is actually best if you are doing so, moving from personal finance into building a business that will work for you. I hope this session have helped you. There's more that we could discuss in this, but if you want to hear more, just comment to me. And if you have any aspect of this that you want me to do another video for, once again, my name is Abraham Great, and you know what? Click the subscribe button. It is working.